Hello, everyone. Welcome to NUFC Talk TV. This is Chris, the American Mag. We got Gary in the building
Good
as
evening.
well. The Mighty Win took a day off. He does. I told him already. Got to be available every day at 10 p.m. If I give you a day off, it's just luck of the draw. But he didn't give a shit. He's out there playing poker. So no, but well deserved for the Mighty Win. He's usually on every time. So he's having fun out there. And of course, showing his dedication. He said he would have made it. It's just that he agreed to it beforehand. So hopefully he loses all his money. And so that's that. But welcome to NFC Talk to Me again. We bring you the latest trending stories surrounding Newcastle United. No hoof de twat today because simply the fellas are busy. DX is busy, Roy is busy, so the two worlds collided and they can't do it. So, but but you get me and Gary. That's better anyway. So but no, good stuff, of course. And the chat's already loaded, so keep the chats coming. We got a few things to talk about. To be fair, and no, the breaking news is not that Steve Bruce is going to Blackpool, which I did see just about that they're going to appoint him as a manager, if not already. But what can we do, man? We laugh, we chuckle, but other than that, it's irrelevant to me, to be honest. Bruce, the Mackhams, they're just irrelevant to me, man. I can't be bothered by just, you know what I mean?
It's all in the
Uh,
past.
it's all in the past, man. All right, so of course, bring your comments, Gary. If you might help in starring some comments that we can get to later on, that would be
Mhm.
lovely. And all right, so wait a minute. What happened there? Chris, is this a live for real? Yes, it is a live for real, Ronald. Um, I think you might have gotten confused. See, what we're doing on the channel is on Tuesdays and Thursdays, maybe Saturdays, we're bringing up clips and videos that we got gathered up that we record or from previous shows that it might get some interest from Newcastle United fans and post them. Sometimes you used to us being live that those pre-recorded videos that everybody really posts catch people off guard. But yeah, man, no worries. And plus, I've been reading all those comments from that pre-recorded today, and people are getting. It was about Amanda Stavely and Eels and all that stuff, and the comments are really amazing. So I read all those comments, and we might show a few here and there. So yes, but I'm glad that you guys get to enjoy every single piece of content that we provide. It takes a lot of time, man, editing and uploading and doing all that stuff. So lovely. We all do it for the fans as well. So so for the Newcastle United fans to enjoy that stuff. All right. I guess we can start with breaking news. It's not breaking news really because we kind of been talking about it. That is Jamal Lewis going to Brazil, Sao Paulo. He did play, I believe, a few games in the preseason, if I'm not mistaken,
He did.
but just not cutting it, did he? I mean, he didn't cut the, didn't.
No, I mean he did okay in Japan, but again, you could see there was still weaknesses in his game to be the Premier League status. So I mean, it is going to be. I think it's going to be a hard wake up call for him in the Brazil league, if I'm honest.
Yeah,
Um, it's not for the faint-hearted, as you well know. So I
no,
think he's
yeah,
going to he's going to wake up to a few kicks in the Brazil league. But good luck to him. I hope he does well.
yeah. It's a loan, and they have an option to buy him, I think. So we shall see what happens. Doesn't really happen often that a European player goes to South America or well, South America more than anything. I mean, you see players going to MLS, going to Saudi Arabia, but maybe it doesn't seem like there's not a lot of places to go to Africa, not a lot of places to go to South America, and so it's interesting. It's going to be, for a young guy traveling, seeing the world, and on top of course, keep playing, and I'm sure getting a good salary. Brazilian teams can't pay big salaries. That's a fact. They make a lot of money. and so a lot of passion, and so it should be good for him. And who knows if he kills it down there? I hope that we might be able to, um, you know, bring him in. We obviously have no, we do have, players in that position, but at the end of the day, still ours. So if he does play well, he can come back and maybe do something, or do the Minte and Anderson thing, sell him for more money, and increase the revenue that way. So, but just to share with the folks, let's see what the information is about and what Sports had to report on.
Right, some breaking transfer news. It concerns Newcastle defender Jamal Lewis. They've confirmed that Lewis has joined Brazilian side São Paulo FC on loan until the end of June 2025, with an option to make the move permanent. Lewis joined Newcastle from Norwich in 2020. He's made 36 competitive appearances, although he did spend the duration of last season on loan at Watford, playing 38 times for them in all competitions. The move does remain subject to international clearance, and if he does get that clearance, he'll be joining a side that are 6th in the Brazilian top division. But yeah, Newcastle confirming that defender Jamal Lewis has joined São Paulo FC on loan until the end of June 2025.
All right, there we go. So
Interesting.
that's the information on that. Um, but of course, it's we got to deliver what we promised. And on the thumbnail, you saw Gary Neville speaking. A lot of people actually commented on the on yesterday's show about these comments by Gary Neville on Sky Sports. He was on a panel with I believe Sturridge. Who else was on there? Roy Keane. Let me look at it. Oh, Carragher. So he was. There were a bunch of old players talking about this situation, which is the PSR situation that affects us. He also did put Man United as being one of the teams affected by it. I don't know if I go that far. However, they did sell Scott McTominay. Not sure that was because of money. I'm sure it will help them that way. But they made it clear as well that if Scott McTominay wanted to leave Manchester United, he would have to make it known, meaning they didn't want to sell him or didn't have to for PSR, issues. But regardless, it can be taken that way. So let's take a listen, a watch at Gary Neville as he spoke, and a lot of Toon fans are, obviously taking these words kindly because they refers to us. Uh, Look, I know I'm a Newcastle United fan, and that stuff is, but we also, if we like when they talk and say things like this about us, but when they say it about their team or anybody else, we tend to, call them out and say that they're, that they're shite pundits and all that stuff. It's fans, isn't it, Gary? I mean, when they talk good about you, you like it. When they don't,
Mm,
or they criticize you, you tend to say, "Oh, this is a Man U fan." He's a man.
absolutely.
They're just
And
pundits.
that's why I said it's really weird sometimes as a fan. I try and not get too involved in the hype, um, and try and be a little bit more open minded about, like I said, about Eddie's tactics. Yes, it feels and it looks like it's gone boring, but I try and see the positives in what he's trying to do. So it's not always about pointing the finger and issuing blame. It's about trying to understand the mythology of it rather than just saying. And it's like Gary Neville. Gary Neville's had critics. I've been one of his biggest critics from day one because he does tend to side towards Man U. But over recent years, he seems to have stepped a little bit further afield, and he does tend to point the finger a little bit more at issues that's going on behind the scenes at Man U. So, like I said, you've got to give the lads chance.
Yeah, yeah. Let's take a listen to what Gary Neville had to say about PSR. I believe this must have been after Liverpool Man United when they got ran down by Liverpool. But let's take a listen to what he had to say about PSR.
No sound, Chris.
Oh, sorry.
A couple of things here. I think it's the most bizarre transfer window. And I think PSR now is starting to be applied by the Premier League. And that's why we're seeing a lot of clubs, including Manchester United, having to sort of, if you like, navigate around selling players that maybe they wouldn't want to. PSR was never designed so that players had to sell the best academy players. And that's what we're seeing. So it's something needs to change dramatically in this next 12 months in terms of the rules. Also, Newcastle, I think they should be able to invest in the squad and they should, again, PSR needs changes so that there is owner investment allowed, so that Newcastle can get to the level of Manchester City and other clubs. We can't just keep a thumb on clubs' heads and say you're not going to invest. Now, what we have to do is do it with security and sustainability in mind. That means the owner funding might have to go in up front, but we can't keep Newcastle's back, and we're holding them back at this moment in time. A couple of things here. I think
there you go. That was those were Gary Neville's words about the PSR situation. He is right though in everything he's saying. There's, I mean,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's been the topic, isn't it? You know, it's like, for me, we understood from the outset that there was going to be a lot of clubs anti-Newcastle as soon as the owners come on board, because again, we could be like Manchester City did. You literally pay for the league title, if you like, because you can go out there and spend money. And I understand they wanted to hold teams back from doing that, but I think Gary Neville is actually bang on from what he's just said there. If you put your thumb, or you stop teams catching up with the big four, what you end up getting is teams, especially owners, get bored of not being able to capitalise on being, champions, going out there and having, achieving anything. And that's the biggest worry for me. That's the biggest concern, is if we are held back enough, are the PAF going to get bored and just walk? Are they going to say, well, you know what, I can go into another league and I can go and do what I like? So there's lots of questions that you've got to throw towards the Premier League and ask, is it going to change? Yes, it's going to change in a year or two, but at this present moment in time, we are far behind the rest of them. And like I said, the last two windows is the concerning bit for me. When we've not been able to go out there and actually spend money, even though potentially we've got somewhere in the region of £70 million.
yeah, it's. But look, we don't know the exact numbers, but PSR can't be an issue for this specific transfer window. Again, we keep going to the marquee, but the thing is, though, it would be just as simple. The PSR right now in this window, the way it didn't help us or went against us is simple. Is as simple as this: we have all this money in the world. We could have literally gone and competed for Osman. We could have definitely competed for Chiesa on the salary that he's on. We could have we with the Marquis. One of the things that I said, Marquis we need to get him as soon as possible, is because we're not going to be able to pay probably over 150 a week, or 160, whatever, around those numbers. And if Liverpool comes in and they say, I'm going to give you 250, we're done. The conversation is over. Or Man U do the same. The conversation is over. So we can't do that simply because of PSR. Now that's what affects us as well. Not just, and we had to sell Anderson, we had to sell Yankuba Minte, could have stayed. And so in that regard, he's right 100%, Neville. And but I'm not too hopeful that it will change anytime soon, to be honest with you. I know people are waiting for the Man City lawsuit against the Premier League. I just don't know how quick they're going to be, and even if they win it, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that this is going to be it's going to change pretty soon. I guess you can say, yeah.
You're absolutely right, and I think it's come to common knowledge now that you're not going to see the rule, or it's not going to be common knowledge that the rule changes about the third party ownership or third party sponsorships, because I've downloaded now the Premier League rule book, and apparently that is the only place that you'll see the change, is if they rewrite that rule about the third party relationships. And as of yet, it's still exactly the same as it was before Manchester City went in there and challenged them, if you like. So it's interesting. And another thing is, obviously, they've just started their legal 115 battle now. That's going to go on up until Christmas time. And if then obviously Man City lose any of them points, they have the right to actually oppose them. So it could be another 2 or 3 years before even the 115 results is even out there. And maybe because of what's happened in the arbitration between the Premier League and Man City, maybe there has been some developments that need legal advice on before any rules start getting changed down the line. So at
Yeah.
this present moment in time, it is all up in the air.
Shout out to Mighty Mag, gift to the membership, and it's going to Brian Quinn. So thank you, mate, and congrats to Brian Quinn. Consider staying as a member once it's up, and thank you, brother. Thank you, Mighty Mag. Well, this is the thing. Jordan for Life brings up this statement. I don't agree clubs can spend whatever they want, but let's say every club spends a maximum of, let's say, 259 or 300 million in a 12-month period, regardless if you sell anyone or not. Uh, or 250, I think he said as well. Yeah.
Mm.
But see, I just can't. I mean, yeah, the Premier League makes that as a rule, then everybody has to abide by it. It is what it is. And I'm sure they're looking at it also, because not everybody, or keep it competitive for everybody in the league. Or that what Jordan for Life is saying is that would probably help everybody stay in this, kind of in level playing field. But it's not though. It's not, because Burnley will never have 250 to spend, regardless if it, or any of the Sheffield, or even the promoted teams. And I don't understand why there has to be a limit to a private company. I just don't. I mean, if a private company decides to go bankrupt, I mean, that's in this extreme, and I understand that this football is it's not just a company; it's obviously fan driven. But at the end of the day, it it is a private company. We like to say the club is ours and this and that, but it's a private company. And if they
Absolutely.
have all the money in the world to spend, why should there be a cap? I keep bringing this example. It's if I'm living in front of a rich guy, in front of a mansion. He gets a Lamborghini, and then I go to the city council and say, "Well, why does he get to get a Ferrari and a Lamborghini? Well, where's my Lamborghini and a Ferrari? You don't get one because you're not rich. You're broke. So that it's nobody's fault if the guy has money to spend. If PIF have money to spend and said Leicester don't. You see what I'm saying? It
Mm.
just it's life, man. It's life.
And
And
I think the only part of the Simon Jordan interview that I saw that I took note of and was worthy of listening to was exactly what you've just said there. If you've got it, why are they not allowed to at least use some of it, even if it's capped at like the first two windows or something like that, where they can actually go out there and spend the money to compete with the top four? Why are they not allowed to actually get involved in any, spendage? As in, like you've just said, I've got the money. I don't need to go into and get a loan for these players. It's my money that I'm using. I don't understand that. I don't
yeah,
understand why we've had to be held back from actually going out there and at least having a go over two windows where you can say, you know what, you've got a cap of like say 300 million, and that's it. That's going to be your net spend, and that gives you your opportunity then to bring two or three players in.
yeah. Well, Ryan Foster says sorry. St. James Park is owned. Um, I'm assuming he says it's owned by Newcastle City
Yeah.
Council. So it's the People's Stadium. I mean, I understand that. I understand that. Now, I think the Mighty Wind had told us that it is rented, like for a lifetime rented, not lifetime, but maybe like a bunch of years, a lot of
Mm.
years.
Got a lease on it.
So if it's rented, that's fine. St. James's Park is, and the lot where it's at. But if we, I don't want St. James Park to go anywhere. That's a subject for a different discussion as well. But if PIF says, if the city council says, well, this is my stadium, well, we're not just going to play anywhere. PIF will build something somewhere, and hope that they get into an agreement and everybody plays their part, and we get to keep St. James's Park or move it to the next lot, Lisa's Park or whatever. But that's obviously a whole can of worms there. But I'm talking about, the Newcastle United entity. I've never seen this ever, where you buy a company and you can't invest in it. It's almost it's almost illegal in anywhere else, any other realm of business. And
But that's
it,
that's why
it,
they've introduced these new rules in the Premier League, Chris. It's never been there before. They talked about it a little bit when the Man City obviously plowed millions and millions of pounds into obviously the stadium, as well as players coming in. And then as soon as we get it, automatically then the Premier League has held a group of with all the club members and said
Yeah.
we can't allow this to keep happening, because eventually what's going to happen, you're going to be able to buy the league and it's not going to be competitive anymore. Well,
It-
that's not true, is it? It's not
That's
competitive
not.
now for certain teams.
It's not. Manchester City have won how many championships, man? It's
Well,
not
it's
competitive. If you think about
no,
it that way, it's not. Only two teams are
exactly.
battling. Nobody else is battling for the champion for the title. So in this competitive, everybody's got to be competitive, man. You either good or not, man. If you can afford to buy players or not, it's simple. I don't, this thing now in this world where you have to have 20 champions. No, you don't. One wins the title. Look, and from now until in the beginning of the time, there's always been a few teams, three, four, say five. The top six, this top six thing. When have the top six, literally, the top six have all competed for the title at once? When? Never. Never have you seen Arsenal, Chelsea, City, Tottenham. Who else am I missing? Man United and Chelsea. I think I mentioned already. No, never have you ever seen all six compete for the same. For the same title the same year. One is already in the mid table. The other one is, you know, you'll never. You only get two or three teams fighting for the spot. And I do agree that the Premier League saw what Man City did and had to have said, we're not going to allow this ever again, because or we're not going to allow it as easy, or we're going to make it difficult, whatever. Because you see, the proof is in the pudding. As soon as Newcastle, first of all, they didn't want to let the takeover happen, and then it, about the Premier League illegal streams, whatever. So they used that the Saudi thing, which is reasonable. They had to fix it. They had to pay being Sports, I believe, a lot of money. I think we said it yesterday, and so they let that happen. But regardless, I just don't think why I don't know why there should be a cap or anything like that. If the club is spending badly, then it's like Bowley, man. Everybody was saying he spent 1 billion. You know, who's saying anything to them?
Mm.
You know what I mean? 1 billion with a B. It spends whatever he wants because it's his club. Now he's also sold
Absolutely.
good, by the way. I know, again, when you're objective, you need to look at these things. When we're just fan bantering, we say 1 billion. Those numpties. Look at another player they're buying, the 50-man squad. They also sold. If you look at it objectively, Chelsea have sold a lot for us for a lot of money. Just last season alone, they sold a lot of players. Mount, a lot of players they sold,
Mm.
and so people don't talk about that. Because one thing that sells
Mm.
is just keep saying Chelsea are an idiot. Chelsea just buys players nonstop. But what do you rather have, man? We're here complaining that we don't have any signings. When you get to Chelsea, they got all the signings, and people complain as well. So I don't understand, man.
No, but I think the problem is, I think when it comes a little bit different with Chelsea though is the fact that when obviously they had the issue with Abramovich,
Yeah,
and it was bought out by Bowley, it was a complete blank slate. So
right,
they
right.
were able to just go in there with and spend as if there was nothing, like, over their heads. So from that aspect, you've just got to, you can't really blame Chelsea for that, or Ted Bowley. He's just got away with it.
Yeah. Jordan Falafel, which fans will realize City are not the enemy. They still want no FFP PSR. They have nothing to gain. They are top of the pile. It's red cartel that is the problem. I agree. I agree with that.
Have you seen that one from Anthony Steingart? Have you seen that?
He just
I'm not
said,
going to read it out. I don't know if you know anything about that.
Anthony says, care to explain why you asked me to donate to you in support of this channel, mate? You're a scammer. Huh?
I don't know who that is.
What the hell are you talking about? When have I ever asked you to donate anything? And Anthony. What the hell is it? I don't know. It was
I don't know who that is, man.
Anthony Steingart or Steinhardt, whoever you are. I don't know who you are and what you're talking about. Um, so all we say here is you can become a member if you want to. You can super chat if you want to. If that's what you're talking about, I guess I mean I don't know, but you can go f off somewhere else. I don't give a
Absolutely.
damn.
Nobody forces you to come here.
Nope, not at all. Um, Question Ryan Foster says, Chris, they spend that because they have an income of 500 million a year. Winning trophy gets you bigger sponsors, TV deals, and we've won nothing. That's how it works. It's all revenue. I understand that. But also, just like any other business, if I see a house that's all old and decrepit and falling down, and I think, you know what, that's a good lot to put a business on. So I'm going to buy it and I'm going to invest money in it, tear it down, build a store there. That's investing, and that's what we have not been able to do whatsoever since the takeover. We've literally what we've done is we bought that house and said, you know what? Let me just clean it up, put a small store there, and sell. And with those profits, trying to build a bigger store that I want to build. Which takes longer time. It's a waste of time in a lot of ways. It takes a lot of maneuvering, which we have done. Been great at. We got Adidas back. We got a lot of people back. A lot of sponsors. We just got one that Gary mentioned that was official today. And so we've done it that way. But you should be able to invest in a business as soon as you get it. You know what I mean? It's just simply not fair. Um, so there you go. What Gary, you were going to show us some money talk.
Yeah, so I mean, I saw this on Sky Sports, and again, I didn't get too much detail from them, and somebody had put it up on Facebook. And if you look on the picture, it tells you year by year what we've actually spent without profit. Now, the only profit that we've actually made is the minus 22, which is coming this year. Now, it makes me think that the money that we put out for Gay, which was around the 55, 60 million mark, if you look at the year that we've lost and then come into this year, which is another 35 mil, um, on top of what we've got regarding the, what we've made in profit, is that the reasons why we
Oh,
can't go out there and spend more money? I don't
uh,
know.
I can't clearly see it. That's the net spend. What's the one
So,
now?
so you've got the net spend there. Like obviously, these are all the what we've paid out over the years, and the only one that's in the minus figure, which is at the bottom of the screen, is the minus 22, which is profit. So that's clearly showing that the only monies that have come into the ground this season is the 22 million. So that's what I'm saying. Is that the
Mm,
reason why we couldn't go out there and spend on a right winger as well as a centre back? Now, like obviously Simon Jordan did make a statement about did Eddie put all his eggs in one basket for
yeah, and we're gonna
getting
react to it
Gay?
later. We're gonna react
Yeah,
to
yeah,
it later.
okay, cool, cool.
Yeah.
So that was the reasons why I looked at this. I thought, is there something in this as well as what we've got coming as well this year? I know everybody like Win made that
Mhm.
spreadsheet with 130 plus million and things like that because everybody's on the same wavelength. And I've been saying for a while, I don't see that money coming in yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I
No,
did see
we
this and I thought it was interesting.
no, you're right. We have not seen that yet, of course. And I mean, hopefully we got all that money that the Mighty Win came up with. But he's the NTTV financial expert. Which that doesn't mean that doesn't mean a lot. The Mighty
Yeah,
Win.
yeah.
But all right. So let me see. We're gonna get into that. By the way, you did mention yesterday that was a good catch, man, about Red Bull. I didn't think anything of it, but that was a really good catch, and it was not official anywhere, man. That good stuff,
Oh,
Gary. Good
no, no.
stuff, man.
It was really interesting to see like all of the there was 6 or 7 cars parked outside the ground, just giving Red Bull away, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. And then as soon as I went into the ground, and usually you've got the Monster Energy around the
Mhm.
boards, that had gone, and it was replaced by Red Bull. So hence, the picture was taken, and um, And I just thought, oh, I'll keep on to that. And that's why I mentioned it last night, thinking, oh, I hope I haven't jumped the gun here. But no, it's come out as official today.
Well, man, look, if it's a, that was a good catch. That was a good catch. And more money, obviously, that we were talking about PSR. That's always good. Don't know how much. I mean, there's only sponsorship in the stadium, right? I would assume, or no,
Yeah. It's just around the hoardings. That's all I saw anyway.
yeah. So, we shall see what happens. I'm not sure. I don't think those bring. I mean, it bring. I'm sure a lot of money, but not like, you know, not as much money as Noon or obviously Adidas or those. But any money is welcome
No.
at this point. So more money, the better. Beer Viking.
Well,
Mighty Wins finances may not be accurate. Yeah, no, don't take that. Take that with a grain of salt. But anyways, what were you saying?
no, I was just saying, for me, it's just like, it's a case of, is this something to do with Mitchell? Because obviously he was part of the Red Bull group. Has he
Right.
been able to pull some strings for us regarding a little bit more cash than Monster Energy Drink was offering? I don't know. It just seems really interesting, the fact that he's come on board now and straight away we've moved on to Red Bull. Could be
Yeah.
coincidence.
And well, like I said, any money is good, and we are bringing more money. And Paul Mitchell certainly, want to say that he was probably involved, but regardless, we got Red Bull, so that's more money. So now that we got more money and we got Red Bull in, I want to think that Paul Mitchell had nothing to do with this, because if we didn't get no signing in and he's worried about sponsors, then I think he needs to do his job before he starts doing something else. But
Yeah.
that's just me. Maybe it was lined up before the window, which he did come the fourth, or maybe what was it, the first or fourth,
Yeah.
third, second of
Something like
so
that.
he should have gotten to work as soon as he got in the building. But we shall see. By the way, Leicester has won its appeal against the decision that an independent commission had jurisdiction to consider an alleged breach by clubs of Premier League profitability and sustainability rules, PSR. So Leicester won something there, and I'm assuming they're not going to get any points deducted.
That's
Hopefully,
correct.
so that's a positive outcome for one team, and to see that it's Leicester, because if it was like a Chelsea, seeing winning an appeal, people will always say, well, there we go, here we go again. It's Chelsea, it's all corrupt. It was Leicester. Hopefully it does come. Something changes, man. It needs to be changed. The Premier League teams are not spending money like this, like they should probably. The more money you can spend, the better the league is going to be, for the most part. For the most part, because you're going to be able to attract bigger talents. You're going to be able to. You telling me, with all the money that PIF has, you know, Newcastle would have been in for Osimhen. Maybe. I'm just saying. I mean, I would like to assume, because Osimhen is a good top talent around Europe, and now he's going to Galatasaray, which is unbelievable to me. It's simple. It's
Mhm.
a simple loan. So he'll be back in Napoli, and I'm sure he'll look for another club next season. But
Mm.
so eh, we could have been for those top targets. We could go. Money wouldn't stop us. Money wouldn't stop us. It would essentially be like, how those players go to Saudi Arabia because of money, right? But not only because of money they would come to Newcastle, but obviously coming to a great project, to come to the Premier League. It's almost like a win-win situation for everybody. Because some players to Saudi Arabia are like, man, it's a lot of money. That's good, but I want to, I want to play there. It's not, the atmosphere. It's not the same, and nothing wrong with the country. I'm just saying, how Western players think, in a lot of ways, and so it would be a win-win situation for everybody. Imagine if we were able to spend like that. It would be great. It would be great.
It's
Um,
exactly that, isn't it? Because you are restricted on the players you can go for just with the wage budget, and that in itself speaks volumes compared to the
but
bigger teams.
yeah, well, Ryan has already posted a few things about this. He says, "When are you going to get it? We can only spend what we have. It's built in the contract of the Premier League since 2008. When are you going to wake up? We know this, man. We're trying to get it to change. Yeah, we already know the rules, brother. We don't like it. You see what I'm saying? And nobody else likes it. Only a few teams like it, and obviously, it's holding some teams back. You know what I'm saying? So we're talking against it. Is what we're doing, man. We understand the rules already, and everybody. I mean, this notion that teams Well, they signed up for it. Well, what are they going to do? I mean, what were they going to do? Not play in the Premier League, play in his own league. Come on, man. It's almost like uh, it's forced. You know what I mean? It's there's no other way around it. There's no other way around it. So, but anyways, Red Bull. There you go. It's in the building. So we shall see. No talk on numbers, of course. So that's we shall wait and see what what comes about of this deal. All right. So talking about a little bit of this, the mighty one has come out and said a few things about football and how football is run or ran in today's age with he's saying now there's a lot of coaches, not a lot of managers, simply because now you got DOFs, director of football, that usually run the football club when it comes to football. And he mentioned as well that he said, I mean, it's including Paul Mitchell, obviously, but he did talking, about the Premier League, that the DOF should come out and explain what happened, why did you make signings, why did you not make signings, or whatever, and explain to the public what's going on because nobody knows. And so, but let's take a listen to Alan Shearer as he spoke on his podcast, The Rest is Football, podcast with Gary Lineker, Shearer, and Micah Richards. So let's take a listen.
I don't understand nowadays is what I'd like to see change is, and not only at Newcastle, with every football club, because we're now seeing more and more, it's coaches, isn't it, rather than managers. We're now seeing more and more sporting directors or chief executives or whatever who are buying the players for the coach. Yet we're seeing the coach having to come out and explain all these decisions. And sometimes the coach hasn't got a clue what's going on. I mean, Eddie said it himself this week. He didn't really know. So I would like more sporting directors or whoever is making the decisions to then come out and explain and say how it is or what it is, because I don't think it's fair on the coach all the time to front up every single week and having to answer questions which they don't know the answers to.
Yeah. I wonder how much the coach has a say on transfers, and I suppose it varies at different clubs. But I mean, if you're the guy in charge of the team, you're the guy in charge of the selection, you're in charge of the tactics. You need to have a say in the players that you bring in because they've got to fit into your system. Now, I'm sure a lot of them do. I listened to while we're on the Tottenham Newcastle game. I listened to Ange Postecoglou last week saying, "I have the final say." And you can see that with the type of players that they've brought in, but I'm not sure that's the case at too many clubs.
All right, so that's that was the clip right there. What do you think, man? Do you think I mean, I kind of agree. The window's already gone.
Absolutely.
We signed nobody, and I say we spent like 40 something million. I think somebody said on Talksport maybe. Actually, the video we're gonna react to later on. But I don't know that those millions are like Ademas, all those players that we don't want to keep bashing, but they're not gonna, they're not
Not
big
first
signings
11
that
players.
we want.
That's what you're saying.
Exactly. So and everybody knows this wasn't a good window. Everybody's saying it. So why can't the DOF now hold a press conference and give the fans, the truth?
Because it's never happened before. It's always been the head coach or manager back in the day who yes did have the final say on um, who come into the squad because it does have to fit his jigsaw. There's no point bringing players in that just don't fit the tactic, or buying players for players' sake. And like I said, that if you look at the likes of Chelsea now, where Ted Bowley's gone out there and just buying whoever the sporting director is there, I don't know the name, has gone out there and just spent money after money after money, just bringing players in and bringing players in for the future who have now gone out back on loan to the clubs because they're not of age yet to move across. There's a number of teams now adopting that type of system, and like Eddie says, this is probably the first season where we seem to have shifted more towards the director of football. Now, whether there was some steam going on between Eddie and Ashworth before the gardening leave, who knows? Nobody knows that. But it seems as if Ashworth had more of an inkling of what was going on, or at least the personnel that was coming into the team. And obviously, Eddie would have given the thumbs up or the thumbs down. Now, if that system has already started at Newcastle now, with Mitchell coming in saying, these are the players that I'm looking for, and Eddie saying, no, I only want a centre back and I want Mark Gay, then Mitchell goes out there to try and get whatever he said. Now, nobody will know the answer. Nobody will know the truth behind what's happened with this window. All we know is we've not got anything. And I think that's where people are starting to look at and start to worry a little bit. And that's the second window of opportunity for us that we've missed to actually bring in somebody else to strengthen the 11 that we've got on the park. We know where the weaknesses are. We know now that Eddie's obviously adapting a different tactic uh, against certain teams, and he's admitted that. He'll look at each individual team and adopt a tactic to suit that. But for me, there has to be some explanation of what's going on by people that are making the decisions. I think
Mm.
I think Alan Shearer is absolutely right.
Yeah, something has to be said. I mean, it can't. It's as simple as that. There was a reason why we didn't make any signing. So, and especially after Darren Neal said that this was going to be a transformative window, or you have to come out and explain. Some fans have said, especially in that video that we posted earlier today, the pre-record, that one fan said that they don't have to give us anything. They don't have to answer anything. Some things are good to be kept in indoors, but I just don't agree with it. I mean, I don't. Although I've said this is a private company, so they can do whatever they want, I guess. But the fans are the ones that keep clubs running because we put our money into it, and if we stop, they goes bankrupt. Now it's hard to stop. Never seen that. All these clubs that want to boycott, they want their fans to boycott their club, so certain people leave, like Levy or the Glazers or whatever. That never works because fans still pay. But regardless, so we're gonna pay regardless. But still, we would like to see. I would like to hear some answers. I would like to hear Paul Mitchell tell me why. And listen, it might not be an answer that we like. He might come out with PSR, as we always, is we are accustomed to nowadays. But at least you're coming out and addressing the fans, and I think that's what, I think that's what needs to happen. Um, Now, I was just
I mean,
looking at this thing.
I said the
Yep.
other day, Chris, though, as daft it looks, Eddie still needs a say in what happens because there's only him gets
Yeah.
sacked. And that's
Right.
the top and bottom of it. If people come in and bring players in that don't fit Eddie's tactic, and then he gets blamed for not playing them, and then something happens, we lose a few games, it won't be the managing director, or it won't be the sports director or whoever. It'll just be Eddie that gets sacked because he gets the fingers pointed at him all the time for poor results. He's already having the finger pointed at him now for poor performances. So from that aspect, you've got to start saying to yourself, Eddie needs to be involved at some point during these talks.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with that. He can't play. He can't just be, uh, you know, getting these plays delivered and he has no say. It has to be a level of compromise. Between the two. It just maybe it was just simply the first time the two are working with each other and it didn't go well. But like I said, it's difficult. I understand the PSR is difficult, but that can't be the end of the world. You still have to be proactive. And I don't think having. I mean, again, we're on 70 million for Gay. You know,
Mm.
we throw in a last bid for 50 million for Ilanga, and I believe from the reports that I was reading that we threw in a player in there that they didn't want to take. So
Yeah,
talk about
Almiron.
desperate, man. Talk about
Yeah, but
desperate.
they wanted 35 plus bonds, didn't they? That was the deal
Yeah,
that they wanted,
no way, man.
which was crazy.
No way, no way you can make that deal. But we still got one of the greatest starts in a long time. I believe 13 years
13 years, yeah.
since we had this type of start. We got three wins, one draw, which would have been against Forest, obviously, right? Oh no, sorry, Bournemouth.
Bournemouth,
Forest
yeah.
would have been a draw as well, but yeah, I don't think they're counting that. It's just Premier League. So, but yes, listen. So we got a lot to to look forward to in this season, and hopefully things go well. Obviously, for the team. Alexander Isak as well has reflected on Newcastle United's start of the season for some Swedish media. He said, "I think our performance is a bit short of the level we wanted to be at. I think that we defend our goal very well. With the ball, we are quite far from our normal level. However, it is a statement of strength to win against Tottenham when not everything is so pretty." Lastly, he said, "The team and I want to do a little better with the ball and performance in general." Um, so that's what he said. But however, we won against Tottenham, and I scored my first goal. So it's clear that I leave to join Sweden with a good feeling. He spoke to Swedish media called Via Play or Via Play. So, I mean, good. I mean, he's saying everything that we're saying as well. I mean, we
Absolutely.
didn't play good, but we got the result, and hopefully that's gonna help us. Obviously, a goal to him helps him tremendously to get his confidence up, which is great. And you're gonna get a break, of course, and hopefully we start hitting in all cylinders, man. It's not easy,
Mm.
but I mean, Eddie Howe's there to help him get that form. It's certainly, you know look, we all want to play pretty, but it's not always going to happen. So I think that the positive out of all these performances is that we were able to get the result, which matters a lot in the Premier League. You know. Thank you to Helsazar, gifted a membership. That's going to Richard Cardwell.
Richard Caldwell.
Eh, there you go. So, there you go, Richard. Thank you, mate, and thank you to
Thank you
Helsazar.
so
Appreciate
much.
that. Appreciate that. All right. So, by the way, somebody sent me this, man. Somebody sent me this on the team photo. It said, "Your mate, the mighty win." Ali says, "How the hell did Mighty Win, the old man, get in the team photo?" And look at that.
Love it.
Who is that? Wait, I want to know if that's Photoshop or that's actually somebody working for the club that looks like the Mighty
No,
Win.
that's the kit man, isn't it? I think
Is
that's the
it?
kit man. Yeah. I can't
Oh
think of his
man,
name now.
it looks just like the Mighty Win, man, with his brand new teeth in.
Yeah, his turkey teeth.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Well, there you go, Mighty Win. You missed it because he's in the pub playing poker. Hope he loses all his money though. But there you go. By the way, Steve Perry spoke as well, and he's been somebody that we've been accustomed to speaking as of late. He said we're proud of the fact that Michael Olise is going to Bayern Munich. We want to be selling to the top clubs like Newcastle United, who's got great aspirations and have recently been in the Champions League, amongst many things that he said on Sky Sports. But it's all a bunch of bollocks, man. He
Mm.
never wanted to sell to us, and he's going to pay the price in 2 years, near 2 years. And I'm reading as well that Newcastle will be interested in going back in the winter to try to acquire Michael Margui. Um, I mean, are we going? Still, it would be the same as summer though. They're probably not going to go for less than 70. In 2 years, they're probably he's going to be free actually. But next season, they'll probably take a lot less money. But in the winter, I highly doubt it. Highly doubt it. But any thoughts on that?
No, mate, no, it is weird. Like I said, how it all pans out, and I'm hoping, like, in I'm looking forward to. I know this sounds absolutely crazy, but I'm actually looking forward to January, um, because I'm hoping that you'll be able to see. How can I put it? I'm hoping we can see one, players come in, but also two, I'm hoping that we can get some idea of what's gone on over these last few months, because by then you'll have all the paperwork that you can instead of surmising what's happening and everything else, you'll be able to be 100% behind it. So, like I say, all the bits and pieces that are happening around us at the minute, it is what it is.
Yeah, there's not much to go on.
No,
And so there you go. By the way, Cole Palmer, Ali Watkins, and Phil Foden withdrawing for England, the Nations League. Is it a cup or what? What the hell is it?
yeah, it's start of is it the Euro leagues, isn't it? So I think because we get relegated. I don't know, mate. To be fair, I don't take much notice in the European stuff. I'll take a little bit more notice now because we've got one or two lads involved. But um, I know, like I say, this weekend there was a few knocks that have obviously the same as what's happened to Kraft. That's pulled him out of Sweden. There's a few international lads that are going to be pulled because of slight injuries, but I mean that's just going to be more of a protection thing from their relative clubs rather than risk them going out there where it actually doesn't really matter that much. Um, but if I'm honest with you, I'm trying to put all my weight on Lee Carsley doing a good job because obviously that takes the pressure off Eddie Howe then because again
Yeah.
there was some interview. I don't know whether you saw it or you heard it. And I've just been literally as you were talking, I've just been trying to find it. Um, Eddie Howe gets asked after the match about his whether he's still looking or interested or has he heard anything about the England manager's job. Um, and he doesn't. And I'm trying to think of the words that he said. It was something like, "In football, you can't get rid of any stories," type of thing. Rather than him saying no, he's got no interest in it, which a lot of players or a lot of managers do when it comes to just people going out there and making 2 and 2 and getting six. He he more or less said that it was like he hasn't he hasn't pushed it aside yet, but obviously he's concentrating on Newcastle at the moment. But he said, I was trying to think, I was just trying to look at it there, so I could play it for you, but I'll try and see, sort it out for tomorrow, and we'll do
Well,
it on
and
on the news show.
the reason why I brought it up about Palmer, Watkins, and Foden is because there's controversy around players already going back to international duty again. A lot of
Just
games.
too soon.
Premier League just started. So yeah, that's why I brought it up. And obviously, look, Gordon went happy to go. I'm sure Pope, all those guys happy to go. But it's I
Well,
don't know what. Yeah,
I'm really hoping it kickstarts Gordon's season, if I'm honest, because he's looked so sluggish since he's come back from the Euros, and I don't know whether that's mental fatigue, physical fatigue, or he's obviously. I don't know whether he's thinking about a move or what it is, but he just doesn't seem the same player anymore.
yeah.
He's just gone well, like I said, even against Tottenham, everything he tried, yeah, he did one or two good things, but everything he tried, it isn't the same lad that we saw play for us last season. Totally
All right.
different player.
You can qualify for the Euros and World Cup winning Nations League, but mm, didn't Italy win one? Or no, Spain won one. Because I was thinking if Italy won one, they didn't go to the World Cup. But I think yeah, you do get those. So people want the UEFA wants you to take it serious, but too many tournaments, man. Stop playing around.
It's crazy. This National League stuff is absolutely useless. And
Yeah.
like I say, because we've been relegated anyway, it's pointless. It just seems pointless to do it.
Yeah, no, that's right. Uh,
You qualify into the top group to play lesser teams or something like that for the
uh,
qualifying,
it,
for the qualifiers. So if you at the end of the day, it is absolutely meaningless.
yeah, but we're gonna get into your comments pretty soon. But Gem Stasher says, when does England play? They play Saturday.
Saturday, isn't it?
Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we got a schedule, but I don't know if we're gonna do it because Gary and Mighty win stuff. So they'll have to decide that. But we do have it planned up if we do it, which they'll play against. Who are they gonna play against?
I don't. You know what? I
We
haven't got. I
is it
haven't even
Republic of
Oh,
Ireland?
it's the Republic of Ireland, isn't it? Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
That one
I
we
got
should
it
do. I think.
scheduled. I got
Yeah, I
it
think we should
scheduled
do that one
because yeah,
because that one
Ireland.
doesn't come around very often.
Should I put Republic of Ireland or just Ireland? Because then I don't want to give
No, you
people
should put the Republic of Ireland if it's the Republic of
Republic.
Ireland.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So we're definitely gonna do that. In England. So that's gonna be good, man. The Leprechauns versus the what the hell are you guys? Oh, the Lions, I guess you can say.
The Lions.
The or the Conquerors.
Like I
But
say, these games mean absolutely nothing to me. I
yeah,
don't really take that much interest in them.
yeah,
Like I said, I don't even know who we were playing. That's how much
yeah.
interest
Well,
I've got.
exactly. Please hit the like button, folks. Help us out. Hit the like button. We already got 90 people watching, and so let's get those likes up, please. It helps us a lot, and it's free. So please do that. All right. So that was just a basic note, but let's we got to react to before we go to the comments to this video about Simon Jordan. I have not watched it. Simon Jordan calls Eddie Howe a bloody fool for Mark Gay pursuit and slaps PSR limits on Newcastle. Let's take a listen to Simon Jordan.
It seems is back with us. All eyes are diverted towards the international scene. It seems that, we're just getting used to Premier League football being back and it's all up and running again.
We come to the snore fest of international football.
We come to the Nations League. But Simon, hey-ho, that's what they've given us. But what we have seen so far has been pretty interesting, has it not? Not least Liverpool's win at Old Trafford, maybe the likes of Newcastle's win. Hard fought as it was up against Tottenham at the weekend. In the window, Tottenham spent just over 130 million this summer. Newcastle, for what it's worth, spent over 60 million. And that was that. Eddie Howe spoke about the transfer window itself. And he said, from his personal perspective, this one was different.
You'll have to understand, in the majority of the other windows, it's just been the whole structure of the club's been very different. So that's not necessarily a criticism of the structure we have now.
Off the screen, Chris.
Personalities, and there's a different way of
You still
working
hear,
now.
right?
So yes,
I can still hear it, but you've just took it off the screen, yeah?
but that's not necessarily a negative.
Maybe not a negative, but if Eddie's hands off, who's doing all the business deals? I mean, you would think that the manager of the football club, a clubs of the scale of Newcastle, would wish to be pretty much hands-on as to who's coming in.
Well, hands-on to what extent? He's not going to negotiate the player's salary.
To the extent of, this is the player I identify as the one I want.
And that's what he did. And he identified a player that they weren't able to achieve. So maybe he should have identified a few more players and been a bit more hands-on from that respect. Because if you can't get Gary out of Palace, because Palace are not a willing seller, you're a bit of a bloody fool if that's the only target you wanted. Of course, that'll be the reasons why Newcastle aren't successful this season, because perhaps the manager wasn't supported in the transfer window. But I don't see how he could have been more hands-on. He can't. He can identify his targets, and clearly he did. He identified Gary. So unless the object of the aim was that Newcastle had to pay 100 million quid, then he needed to have given more targets, perhaps.
Of course, Amanda Staveley's no longer there, Simon, so maybe...
I'm not sure that made a lot of difference.
Whoever's in situ now, maybe the drive to get a certain player such as Gahey maybe stopped that bit sooner than it might have done had Amanda been in.
Well, I don't think so. I think we're talking about competent, inherently well-versed football operators, not Amanda Staveley, who came in and brought people in that had money. There's a difference. Darren Eales is a very, very well-versed football operator, both here and in America. He knows his way around. So I would suspect his capabilities are not insignificant.
Yeah, but
so I don't think Amanda Staveley being there is any different.
But she was an ally to Eddie in the boardroom. You accept that?
And so would these guys be. They won't be an enemy, will they? And she was, and it's great to be an ally with other people's money. They have the same responsibilities. There would have been no difference. There would have been no indication, with due respect. I don't anticipate that she did it in the transfer deals. I may be wrong, and maybe will be the case. But I think ultimately the problem for Newcastle is one of they can't spend what they want, which I think is inherently unfair. That a club under new ownership should have a bit of latitude to be able to build up so it can challenge the status quo. That's where I think profit and sustainability goes wrong. And I also think that perhaps people needed to get off their backside and identify a few more targets rather than a £70 million centre-back they thought they could prize out of Crystal Palace. If you needed a centre-back, and that's an area that you've alighted upon as having great importance, maybe there should be more than one target. Maybe there should be a multitude of attacks, because ultimately, like many things, you don't always get what you want on the first date. So you don't always get what you might want when you're going for your first player.
All right. So that's what Simon Jordan is saying there. Look, and I see a lot of people in the chat already. AG, Jordan boys, my piss, can't stand the bloke. But we'll probably have to agree on the PSR situation. You know,
that's what I said.
That any business should be able to invest in their new business. And if you want to keep PSR, maybe new bought teams can spend for the next 2 years to get their business back up. And obviously they have to adjust to the rules later on, or get rid of it completely. Somebody said it there. It was let me see, Knick-Knack. The clubs voted for these rules, but they voted when? When did they vote for these rules? Over 10 years ago. They don't vote every year or every 2 years or every 3 years. Football has changed. Players now are never going to be with 70 million for Mark Gee would have never been thought of in 20 years, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 10 years ago, let alone 20 years ago. 10 years ago, a center back, what would Rio Ferdinand cost in his prime in 08? You think 70 million?
Yeah.
You know,
I think what the problem is with us, Chris, is the fact that you've got a lot of the changes coming when our ownerships come on board. They wanted to stop the steam train. That's what they said. It was set out to stop us being a Man City, a Chelsea,
Right.
and the other big wigs that have literally come in and bought the players to really attack the Premier League. And it was done literally, I think it was the season of our takeover. So it was something, again, I might be totally wrong when I say that, but I'm sure it was around then that the big change come on board. That yes, there was there was it was FFP rules, and then they changed it to PSR rules.
Yeah. And you know, I think that the issue with Simon Jordan is that a lot of people, you know, he thinks he's just too drastic, too blunt, too direct. Uh, I like to think myself that I'm that way as well. But you know, some people don't like when you're too direct. And so I do agree with a lot of what he says. A lot of times totally disagree that I want to get on that call line, but it'll never happen. There's like 10, 20,000 people trying to get on there to call because you know, it would be a great debate. But um, but in this particular, I think you've got to agree with the PSR situation, and also he said he called you. He's a bloody fool if he only identified Margui as his only target. A lot of our fan base thought that. A lot of our fan base, especially in our
Absolutely.
group chat, everywhere else where you're seeing, they're saying is Eddie Howe's holding us back because he only wanted Margui and he didn't think of, you know. So our fan base is thinking that. A lot of them. Now, do you agree with that? If he says, if Eddie says, I only want Margui, is he so wrong for doing that? Because I don't necessarily think so.
I don't think he's wrong in a sense of if that's the target that he's looking for, he's going to try his best to get him. I think after we spent just under 4 weeks trying to get this lad. I think after 2 weeks when there was no movement whatsoever from Crystal Palace to move the money situation towards a negotiation stage, I think that is when you start to ask yourself, I need to look elsewhere. And I think that's where we failed. Because it wasn't until well, for me anyway, it wasn't until the last 48 hours that other players started to be named that we were linked with. I know we've been linked with loads of different players through the window. In actual fact, I think I saw a picture that I wanted to take a picture of the 11 outfield players that we could have had a B team with all the players that are out there that we've been linked with. But I think it's really funny that the way it stands at this present moment in time, a lot of the fingers are pointing towards Eddie for not having a plan B, if that makes any sense.
Mhm.
It feels to me as if Guy was his number one target and he wanted to go out there and really push to get this lad in. And after like I say, after 2 weeks, you should have realised that Steve Parish isn't going to move in actual fact, it seemed as if Parish was moving the target away from us even further because we said, we'd put a bid in at 50, you'd put a bid in at 60, and then the next thing we hear that Crystal Palace now wants 70, and you're like,
Yeah.
where are you going with this?
Yeah, and it's a piss take, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get, so 100%, 100%. A lot of people, I don't agree in this particular case with Jordan when he says, um, when Jim White introduces Amanda into the conversation, which by the way is clear, we know that Amanda and Simon Jordan have debated on live air and definitely agree. And he says, I don't know how much of a difference that would have made. Well, you can clearly see on the Amazon documentary that she was very much involved in the Anthony Gordon move. So that you can assume that she would have been involved. Not saying in every move, but she was certainly there, and she did do it. They can help you assume that she must have been involved in other deals. Hence, she could have been involved in this window if she didn't leave. So in that sense, I don't agree, obviously, because it's facts. She was involved in Anthony Gordon's deal, and so. But look, if I'm a manager, again, I've said this before. If I'm a manager and I like, Margui is my center back, and he is elite, and to me, he's going to take us to the promised land. If I'm Eddie, why should I take a second, third, fourth option? You know what I mean? That's not better than Shar, Botman, or Burn. Why should I take those options? Because somebody said in the comment section that that something about third, fourth option. Why does Eddie have to take third or fourth option? Why don't we not have a plan B? Why can't we have 2 or 3 plan A's? If a Marquis is here, where's the other center back that's on this same level?
Well, we went in for Sibikin like at the 11th hour, didn't we? As in
Yeah.
that other plan A, as you're saying. I just want to, James Cuff, thanks, mate. I know there was something. So 2011-12 was the season that the PSR, well, FFP, whatever you want to call it, and they changed the rules regarding the third parties when the changeover come on board.
Exactly.
So that's what changed.
Exactly.
Thanks, James.
Good stuff, James.
And there was something else. Oh yeah, Geordie 2 for Life has put Mitchell is the negotiator of the deals, and he's our boss.
Yeah.
So it's down to how when they move on. So, like I said, who do you point the finger at? If Eddie has said to Mitchell, I want this player, and that is the only player that I want, Mitchell's done his best and he's failed.
Well, the thing is, if you just go by literally what the title is, their titles, the director of football is above the coach, the football coach. So he should be Eddie's boss. Now, how they arranged that when Eddie was already there, and and all that stuff. So, in an ideal world, I know there's people not used to this. The director of football starts his job. He's the one that appoints the coach of the football club, according to what the club's ideas are. Who are we, a proactive team, or are we a Barcelona tiki taka style where we need somebody like that all the time? Are we a Atletico Madrid where we are nothing but just bullocks and strength and running and personality? We need a manager like that. We need a Conte. Simeone leaves, now we need a Conte, which is the same type manager that's gonna that our fan base loves, and so you know what I mean. Now, obviously, he didn't appoint Eddie, and I don't know that it works like this. I don't know that it works like this. I don't know that Eddie thinks Mitchell is his boss, and so, but it has to be always have to be. They both have to work with each other with signings, because you cannot just bring somebody in and Eddie is gonna, not play the guy, so you just wasted money, and it's shite. And also, what you can't just Eddie can't just say, "Bring me all these 10 guys. I want all 10," and Paul Mitchell does what the manager wants. It can't be like that. It has to be a negotiation. It has to be a give or take, because if Eddie gets sacked, all of a sudden you're left with these. What happened with Enzo Maresca? Eddie gets sacked. All of a sudden, you're stuck with all these players that you didn't want, that you just happy clapped and said, "Yes, Eddie." And all of a sudden, the next manager says, "Well, I don't want these guys. I want this other 10." So it becomes a mess. So it has to be a negotiation between the DOF and the manager. And the jury's still out. I have no clue. Just simply have no clue how these things are being worked in the background in Newcastle United. But at this point in time, again, it's about the weekly games. There's you can't get nobody in, which I think we will on Friday. Um, have a transfer show. Didn't think we were going to have another transfer show already. It's been painful one. But there are free agents that we can sign. So, what free agents are out there that are good, that could be good targets for us? I don't know that we're actually looking at any of them realistically, but it's always good to have a show to talk about who's free out there. A lot of free agents that we can debate, have an opinion on. And so I think we're going to do that Friday. So stay tuned for that. We're going to have all the free agents in the world that we can sign. There's a bunch of them. And I would think if we're hurt of squad players, what hurts just to bring in a guy for 6 months or a season contract or whatever, and go from there. What you got there, mate?
I think if a picture
Ooh,
can paint 1,000 words, isn't it?
yeah,
Apparently, by all accounts, there was a bit of a meeting between all of the big boys after the,
yeah,
the the
yeah,
game on Spurs. And like I said, none of them there look very happy with whatever has been said before the game. Um, Mitchell and Darren. I mean, Darren. There was some really good stories going around the ground when this picture was portrayed to a lot
yeah.
at the game.
It just Paul Mitchell looks depleted, man. And
Absolutely,
it's
and
like
it was like taxi for eels. Somebody was shouting
oh
when
yeah,
when
yeah.
they saw the phone call. He's booking his Uber.
Oh yeah, man. It would have been interesting to be in that and in that boardroom when they were talking to each other and what they were discussing. We'll never know, but look, we didn't have a good window, so hopefully some ears were pulled.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
that time. Rico says, "If I'm honestly glad we didn't spend all that money on the center back. I feel like they think as if we are the richest club in the world, and we should pay for more for players. Let's hope Gihey refuses a new contract, which I do believe that's going to happen. I think Gihey
Yeah,
will. Um,
absolutely.
and it wouldn't surprise me though. Please don't be surprised if we go at him again in the winter window. It just but I don't think that they're going to go down on this winter window. I think they might go down next season, but we shall wait and
Yeah,
see for
I
that.
do think there's going to be a number of clubs interested though next season, and I think that was the
Mm,
reason why Eddie probably tried this year to lure him in because he realizes, when he goes down to 1 year left on his contract, he's going to interest the likes of Liverpool, Chelsea's going to always be there. Not sure Man U will be, but maybe even Man City might even look at him.
yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
All right, let's go with the comments before we finish off the show. Southlink says good win for the under 21 versus Bradford. 92-minute equalizer, then penalties wins. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
we
a
won
good
in
one.
the penalties. Yeah,
Good
it was good.
stuff. Infamous says I would sell me mom to Brazil for PSR rules right now after that last window. She's oh no. Come on, infamous. Jordan for life. Great news for Leicester and all clubs in the Premier League showing some of the rules shouldn't be there in controlling football clubs. I agree.
Correct.
Jordy, Gary Neville is using Newcastle as an example. What he really wants is Man U are struggling to spend what they used to spend. So let's change the rules ASAP. Well, I mean, you can't have rules for Newcastle only. So they
No, it's
benefit
true.
again, man. It's they benefit. They benefit. It's just whatever, man.
Yeah, but they did spend a lot of money, didn't they?
They still
Bringing
just
in these
spend a lot of money.
players. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
they only sold McTominay, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Maybe
because a
one
few
more.
went on freeze, didn't
Yeah, yeah, yeah. AG, exactly. The club can put a pot aside to say, okay, here's the money to back up the club. PSR wasn't to protect clubs from administration; it was to protect the cartel. There you go. They
they?
say
Absolutely.
that's the hidden agenda. Ryan says, can we not get relegated? Spend loads, come back up, and tip team.
Yeah.
And back up with tip team. Not sure what you said there, mate, but
No,
if you
no.
can change. Jordan for life, just for info, Newcastle. Oh yeah, we read that
We've
one.
just done that one. Yeah.
David T. I find the Premier League response disturbing. They are quote disappointed in the outcome. Yes, they are disappointed. They can't punish and potentially crush another team from their own organization. About Leicester, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
Uh, he,
absolutely.
he also says, I thought Osman to Galatasaray was crazy news today, and it's been topped by Kabachid to Blackpool. Yeah, well, yeah, Osman is weird, but I knew it wasn't a permanent deal. It's just a loan. He'll be back to Napoli, and he'll definitely have an opportunity. People say, he didn't take 150 from Chelsea, and he's taking 160 from Galatasaray. People are saying that's a stupid move. Well, um, it isn't really, because the Chelsea move would have been permanent. Permanent. He would have been on 150 permanently. In this case, it's just one season. So next season he'll be able to negotiate his contract up if he wants to. So with Chelsea, he would have been tied for however long. They give contracts for like 10 years, man.
7 or 8 years.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So I think it could have been a smart move. He knew he broke his bridges at Napoli. So yeah, man. Ryan says, Chris is a sport-based company, so following the rules when you join the league is fair. Sorry, I'm a diehard Newcastle fan for 43 years, mate. We have signed up to this, so we can't complain. Just sell and buy. I understand we sign up, but yeah, again, these are old rules, man, or at least adjusted to the modern times. Of course, at the time, Newcastle actually were one of the clubs for PSR when we were under Ashley. But this obviously it's a different time. And if you ask me, objectively from everybody's perspective, I think it would benefit. It actually benefits the clubs that have money, which is every big club really, and Newcastle, which big club, and I mean Everton are broke, but basically every big club that has money, it benefits. So is that fair? Maybe not, but because the majority of clubs have, what is the relegation teams gonna vote for? What are the mid table and below gonna vote for? That's the thing, but I mean, well, I'm a Newcastle United fan, so I'm going to look for or try to see what's best for the club. And Japadoni, and I agree with you. We need to buy and sell, but it's difficult, man. It's difficult. Japadoni, those figures are not correct. We have spent more since the takeover. I had an argument with someone and then went and investigated. I was right. My numbers were those on SS nearly, but I guess the numbers you were showing on the screen, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I mean, like I say, I don't know how true they are. It was just something that Sky Sports put
Sky
up there,
Sports
and they
put it.
were saying, yeah, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And when I worked out the type of numbers that they were offering for Gay, it made a little bit of sense, because obviously there was nothing else mentioned regarding. And when
Yeah.
Eddie was questioned about obviously Gay coming in at the time, will you be looking for a right winger? And he says, no, possibly not. So like I said, I put 2 and 2 together, and I may have made 6. But it just seems interesting that the two numbers that we would have got from them figures and the figures that we get from a new year would equate to around about the 60 million mark.
Carlton says, like Hal said, we need loads of sponsorships. Yeah, we got Red Bull now. Davey says the initial intention of FFP was correct to prevent potential bankruptcy. Reading, Bolton, Cardiff, etc., nearly going under. But if you can prove you have the funding, then it's flawed. Yeah, I agree. What you got? What you got there?
I just wanted to do it right at the
sorry.
end, mate. So we'll do it in a minute.
Oh, well, we're doing it. We're doing it. Next one, Vegan Mag. The chairman was at the ground in the weekend, and I don't think he came to give Darren Eales a hug. Yeah, that's true. He also says, I think we maybe need another manager to take us to the next level. I like Eddie, but I don't think he's the level of top managers in the league. Ryan says, holding us back, big style. FFP maybe. AG, the wage structure is a problem also. Well, players get a lot of money now, man. So a lot of money. Jordan for life. Clubs are buying young players, the like of Minte, because they can sell them for pure profit. That's where it's wrong, in my opinion. Clubs should sell who they want if players are not good enough. Ryan's question: Eddie need to trust Mitchell to find him talent he can make into superstars, and if he can't, he's putting his ego before our future because we can't keep signing high price players. Well, we don't sign high price. That's the thing. We've been signing young guys. Osula, Vlacadima is not proven. You know what I mean? And so at some point, I'm sure Eddie's like, damn.
Isak
Can I
was
just
our most expensive, wasn't he? At
eh,
63 million, and
eh,
that's what I said. And even then, he was a bit of an unknown.
and he was at Real Sociedad, hadn't won anything. So I'm sure Eddie at some point is like, damn, give me a player that I can just put in the equation and let him go. But it has to be a negotiation. It can't just say Mitchell bring the players and Eddie just make it. It don't work like that. Just can't. Any manager, you tell Pep Guardiola, I'm going to bring you whoever, and then you will see Pep Guardiola as a free agent because you're not just going to put players there and I'm just going to accept them. Doesn't work like that, man. You can't. Any top manager doesn't work like that. Mourinho, Ancelotti, none of them will just say be quiet because at the end of the day, it's their head on the chopping block if things don't go well. So that's my opinion on that. James Slater says, really simple when you think about it. The rules were specifically designed to stop Newcastle doing the modern day Chelsea Man City. It'd be the Premier League's worst nightmare and would upset the apple cart. Nick Knack says the main thing for Newcastle is you kept hold of Isak, Gordon, Bruno, etc. And without Euro football, shouldn't need such a strong squad this season anyway. Yeah, but that's this season. I'm looking at it from a bigger perspective. If we have problems signing anybody this season. What makes you think we're going to be able to sign 3, 4 top players in one window? Let alone the winter window. Nobody makes big moves then. But next summer, we're going to make all those signings. Don't know. Tunarmi says, Tunarmi Oz, let's not forget we beat Sports 4-0 last season and we came with 23% possession. We at home with 27% possession. Um, did we beat them 4-0 last season?
Yeah,
Oh, at home but that was okay.
yeah.
James says, if you want my opinion, I think we can still get top 6 and 7. Not sure about Champions League with the minimum spend in the summer, but we do have a strong 11. Just need to that pressing and intensity back. That's the problem, man. You want that intensity with 11 players. You're gonna have to switch them up, and that's where we come short. What are the options for the midfield? Everybody talks center back, right wing, which I agree. Who comes in that midfield that makes an impact?
Yeah, I've
Not
said all
one,
along we need a centre midfielder.
not one single midfielder. Longstaff is the same thing. So you already know. Willock you can't count on. Who else? We gave away Joe White. We really Lewis Miley's hurt.
I mean, I must admit, Anderson looks a totally different player for Forest. He's really, I mean, for me, he was probably one of their best players the weekend.
Yeah. So Foxy, the fact that all these players are pulling out of international squads surely hits home that how absolutely pointless these games are. Scrap
Absolutely.
Nations League and friendlies qualifiers are enough. There you go. I agree with that. James Slater, when was the last time we didn't qualify for either the Europes or the World Cup? Long time. England always qualifies, right?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, yeah.
More or less.
It's been a while since we haven't.
Yeah. Did you read this one too? Gary, is because Gordon had no preseason training, just like Bruno is struggling. Rice at Arsenal is the same. He's struggling according to their fan base. Well, maybe hopefully this does well for uh, Gordon, and maybe he plays
I'm open.
and he comes with a positive mind. Ryan, I like how you just put these clips up for us to see. Yeah, man, we gotta have these shows interactive, and we're gonna show you what sometimes we can't, especially we can't put highlights of football because the Premier League is pretty strict on that. But people talking and people having that's good stuff to show exactly, and literally get to hear and watch what they say instead of us quoting what they're saying. So that's always good. Nothing wrong with it with his comments, but just hypothetical at the end of the day about Simon Jordan.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, a lot of people agree, but then they'll say Simon Jordan, so they'll disagree all of a sudden. You gotta be objective. But AG says he's a cretin, or
Cretin.
cretin, a cretin.
Cretin. Yeah,
He
cretin.
says Rosie. He says some things correct, but as on the whole, he is a cretin, always towards
Yeah, he
us.
doesn't like us northern monkeys.
Uh-uh. Jody says Amanda was massively involved in the Gordon transfer, so he's wrong on that account. Willie Jacket says, didn't we have several targets? Club didn't want to sign third or fourth choice players. Exactly what I'm saying. You know that why should we? Why should we? Nick Nack, I doubt Eddie has much say in the transfers. Poach left Chelsea for that exact reason. Um, Foxy wouldn't be surprised if it was Mitchell refusing to pay the amount that Palace wanted for Gay. Goes completely against his style of recruitment. So who was for it? Because apparently somebody was for paying that. And so who was?
Well, I don't think that's true, Chris. And like I said, having listened to everybody's talk and everything else, what what came back to me, and I'm not trying to be anybody who's in the know, by any standards. I was told that we didn't reach any target, and then we failed the structure bill afterwards. So the money that we wanted to put down was no more than £60 million up front, and then it was the
Right.
structure of payments then that Crystal Palace didn't want. They wanted more money up front and less of a structure. So that's how it
Mhm.
worked out.
Yeah. Ryan says, sorry, Chris, if Eddie refuses to pay Mitchell's players to hire someone who will, Eddie has no power, then what happens on the pitch? Again, man, we keep getting on the same thing. You cannot force a manager to play people that he doesn't believe in. And if you're for us signing 3 players worth 30 million each, 90 million pounds, and none of them play, then that's not good for the business of the club. And you cannot enforce a manager. You need to play these guys because then he becomes a muppet, and you certainly don't want that. But anyways, that is everybody got their say though. Everybody has their say. Brian Quinn,
Absolutely.
shout out to you and congrats on that membership. Please continue that, mate, and help us out. And so yeah, that's it, man. We had a good show, Gary. Good
Yeah, I just want to
stuff.
put this up,
Oh
and this
yeah,
is um, Blackpool fans now celebrating the signing of Steve Bruce. Hear him in the background.
We are knackered, man. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Of course. The Netherlands fan base, man. That's a tough fan base. They're pretty good. But Blackpool, where's Blackpool in the championship?
Uh, I think they're one.
Oh man, let me
League
see.
One.
Where's Blackpool? Let's look it up. Just give it 2 seconds of my lifetime to Blackpool, a professional association football club playing competes in the EFL. Competes in the English League One, EFL League One.
Yeah, League One.
Yeah,
I mean,
orange kit.
they had a really good side at one season. They were really hitting the high notes, but unfortunately, like all little clubs, money just isn't there for them. And eventually, they start paying out stupid wages just to try and keep in the leagues, and then they just go bang.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, we shall see. I guess I could care less, to be honest, but
No,
I'm
mate.
sure he'll make some news amongst Newcastle fans. But anyways, thank you so much for your support. Hit the like button, of course, help us out. And yeah, if you haven't close that chat, hit the like button. It's easy to forget. Tomorrow is Wednesday, so we got a lot of shows. And tomorrow at 1 p.m. or not 1 p.m. Well, 1 p.m. in the US, 7 p.m. UK, we'll have a sit down with Steve Wraith. So Steve Wraith is joining the channel for just to talk and discuss all things NUFC. So stay tuned for that tomorrow at 7 p.m. UK. So don't forget, come on to the channel and of course have your opinion. And yeah, it should be good. Also, Toon Talk Worldwide at 11 p.m. UK. We got NUFC Extra Time at 2 a.m., which will be the same day. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on tomorrow. But thank you so much for your support. and we shall see you on the next one. Bye bye, folks.
Take care, all.
Take care.